So this is our hotel over on the Hilo side. It's okay. I wouldn't call it great. But we're only here for 3 nights. Nice bay though. It's on the Hilo Bay. This is the second largest city in Hawaii. It's over on the wet side. It was raining all last night, but it looks pretty nice today. We're going on the volcano tour, so we'll see how that goes. So this is the visitor center of Volcano National Park. We're taking a trip in the van, our intrepid guide, Pat. This is the visitor center itself. And the weather was like 50% chance of rain all day long. But yet, look at this, beautiful blue sky. This is Riney.
Nice weather. I'm enjoying this trip so far.
To the right. The summit is right about there, just barely to the left of where this road is going. That is the largest volcano on Earth, just shy of the supervolcanoes of the world. That is half the size of this island. So it's a big one. And it's active, and last time I directed was in 1984. I don't think these folks maybe knew that. But here, this area here is called the steam vents. On our way back out here, we're going to stop here briefly. It's just really meant to be a 10-minute stop, but some very interesting things are happening here. I'm 83 years old. Look what it's done for me.
This is at the peak of Kilauea. So you can actually see Mauna Kea almost 60 miles away back there. That peak is Mauna Kea. And this is Mauna Loa. And there's the crater for Kilauea. Or at least part of it.
And every once in a while it shoots out a red frond. That was one of the sources of the red dyes that the ancient Hawaiians used to paint those fabulous patterns on the kapa cloth. You know, the cloth made out of trees. Actually, the layer below the bark would pound into fabric. Hawaiians took kapa cloth making up a couple of notches from Lower Polynesia. They're known for being much more intricately detailed in design. Just from what I've told you, you would be able to tell the difference between Lower Polynesia and Hawaiian for the detail in the design.
Ohia lahua tree. Native plants, the first thing to grow on lava.
What you're looking at is a crater within the caldera. The word caldera means crater that's more than a mile in diameter, specifically caused by collapse. The last time Kilauea had any kind of collapse was in 1500. And this whole caldera collapsed about 400 feet. Not one day, but over a period of days. The caldera length is actually 3 miles from that end where you can see trees to this end is 3 miles, and it's 2 miles from where we're standing to the other side of the crater right in front of us. Believe it or not, it's a mile from where we're standing to the first lip of the crater right in front of us. Perspectives get really thrown off here. Later on today, we're going to be down at that end where that brown hill is. You can sort of see down there. We'll be looking back this way. You'll see that this building is actually a long ways away from that hole. But this crater right here is called Halemaumau. Now the Hawaiians believe not only is that the heart of the volcano, but that's where Madame Pele lives. You ever heard of Madame Pele? She's our Hawaiian goddess of the volcano. Well, Halemaumau crater in 1924 was half the size you see right now, and it was a lava lake. I'm talking 2100 degree Fahrenheit lava doing everything lakes do. We've only had 2 explosive events here in Hawaii because our volcanoes aren't explosive. Rarely do they're not. They've had explosive times in history, but they mostly don't. They're not explosive. Our magma is very thin; it can off-gas, so we don't have big buildups of gases. But in 1924, we had a steam explosion. Well, let me back up. This is probably not the best way to explain it. So in 1924, the source that had been feeding that lava lake for over 100 years stopped. It actually changed direction, so it started to drain. As it was draining, that lava lake was draining, sides of the walls of the crater would fall away with it. Groundwater rushed in to fill the void, and we had steam explosions. So that was the first recorded explosive event in recorded history. It was in 1924. Going through those toxic gases, which are horribly toxic to humans. But those birds are called Koa aekea, also known as a crater bird or a tropic bird. They have a 3-foot wingspan. They have beautiful white trailing tail feathers. Well, it's a seabird. They nest in the walls of Powell Mountain Mountain, and it flies 30 miles of sea to feed. It's a seabird, and they live here on the volcano. And they can fly through those gases like it's nothing. They've yet to find out why those birds can tolerate those gases. That's horribly toxic. The sulfur dioxide warning you said you saw? Yeah. Disclaimer, that's what I'm talking about. Now that's over a mile away. And the trade winds are blowing it away from us. So the Kona side of the island, if you saw that stuff that looks kind of smoggy, that's what we call VOG, volcanic gases.
And that's a live picture looking inside the vent in infrared, so it's obviously more orange than it probably really is. Oh man, people throwing money in there. It's a steam vent.
So special, and it can tolerate so many different conditions. It's a pioneer plant, first one to find life in lava. And you don't see any of them out here at all. What this is what's called warm ground. There's only 3 places in the world that has warm ground. South China, New Zealand, and here. And basically, you can Google it when you get back home, but basically what warm ground is if you go to 3-foot depth, it's warmer there than the surface being heated geothermally from below, you then have warm ground. But if you turn around and look this direction, not only is the ground not as warm, but the steam is helping to feed all these plants. Come on over here, let me show you this one. Pretty, it actually is a fire hazard, but it's native, so the park will protect it. The park's doing a pretty good job trying to keep native species in the park and trying to eradicate all those that aren't. There are some things that are in the park now that they'll never be rid of, but they keep trying. But what this plant does is as it grows, it actually chokes off its own foliage. It doesn't kill the plant, but kills the foliage. So this dead-looking stuff is related to this green stuff at the top. It's just what it does. But the problem with it is it does hide dangers. It does meander, and you'll see as we go in the rainforest, it climbs into trees. Hides dangers. On a volcano, we have lots of cracks and lots of holes in the ground. When the ceiling of a lava tube collapses, the resultant hole is called a skylight. There's lots of skylights all over this whole island, and this can hide. We could have a 200-foot drop-off right here. You'd never know it. So the rule in Hawaii is, if you stay on the trails, you're perfectly safe. It's the people who get off the trails. They have to watch it. People here, you can come to Hawaii, you can get a machete, you can whack your way through the jungle. Sure, you can do that. But are they paying attention where they place each foot? No, those are the people who fall into cracks and holes. So the rule of the jungle is, don't go by yourself. Take a buddy. You see why it's called Mandarin orchid. Each plant has this one orchid on the top. Sometimes they'll have a couple on the side. You can't pick them, but you can certainly molest them. Yeah, see, look at they're perfect little orchids. They're never any other color than this. And they just flower off and on all year round. They're all over this island. I have them in my yard, move down my road and roll down my window and pick orchids as I go along.
You can see some steam vents out there. It's right over there.
That plant.
So what do? They have a bunch of weekend warriors go out and take shovels and
The
put
park,
it out?
yes, in fact, in the park, they're constantly trying to eradicate it, constantly. And Girl Scout troops, Boy Scout troops, youth groups, people come and volunteer time at the park, and inevitably they're going to send them out to areas and get rid of those kinds of things. And it's you have to keep everything but wind. and they're very protected here. So these are about happy, a Hapu fruit you're ever going to see. They grow initially about 3.5 inches a year. As they get older, the growth rate slows down. So if you see a trunk that's 10 or 12 feet tall, it's very easily 40 or 50 years old. They can grow hundreds of years. We're going to be going to a place a little bit later. They are easily 75, 100 years old. What happens is they grow, they get taller, and then they fall over because they get waterlogged. And then they keep on growing again, and then they fall over. And when you see one that's done that a couple times, they're hundreds of years old. There's no way to really guess how old they are.
Okay, if I put this in.
You can see the area where we're at over there. And then this is a little pit off to the side.
Oh, you can see the steam at the other one was fun.
So what happened? I said 36 days, and in 36 days there were 17 episodes of lava fountaining. Each time was exactly the same in that the magma would find its way to the surface, shoot up in the air, fill up this lava lake, then this fountain would subside, and the whole thing would swirl around as if someone had flipped the switch or flushed the toilet. It was like a whirlpool effect, and it went right back down the same hole it came out. Now for 35 days of this 36-day eruption, it all happened right there where that hill is. The day before this eruption, that hill didn't exist, and the level of this now cooled lava lake was 400 feet deeper than what you're looking at right now. So this eruption added 400 feet. Now that hill over there, remember from the other side I pointed out to you, that brown hill that goes off kind of off to the right? We're on the back side of it now, so you can't see where it goes off that direction. But what that is an accumulation of spatter and cinder, because our trade winds coming from the northeast, you can feel it now, that's typically, 99% of the time that's where they come from. They were blowing all that spatter and cinder to the backside. So remember, it goes off very gradually in the back because the wind blew it back that way, instead of it falling symmetrically around the source. How come the park has all these metal stakes like you tie your tomatoes up with? And see, there's another one there. Now they'll keep doing that until they hit the sun. As soon as they hit the sun is when they'll do the first bifurcation, the first split. And so those have to get quite tall here before they hit the sun. Where along that side of the trail, they'd be a lot shorter before they do their first split. And then
That's basically the baby form of this fern.
Also providing erosion control. So there's another way the Hawaiians
Pretty weird.
really love it for what it does for that.
Oh, there's another one here just starting.
This is, oops, where'd it go? This is the fern starting to split. So right out there, straight drop off down to the floor. So you really don't want to go down there.
So who's to say this one?
The geologists have assured the park that this is fine for now. That's the place that's dangerous out there. Do you see where that tree is? To the root of the trail, you're totally fine. I don't have to worry about you guys. But it's easy if people trip, they fall, and trip on a root, and then they skin their knee, and I can take care of it. Anybody need stitches? I can do stitches.
That's right.
No, I don't need stitches.
Look out that direction.
It's an amazing plant. It's been on Earth since, 234 million years before dinosaurs. They think this is one of the prime dinosaur plants, but when dinosaurs were on Earth, they say it was much larger. So here's another one right here. Yeah, it's a very interesting plant for lots of things, and if you have any interest at all, club moss is its common name, so you can just kind of Google club moss.
So that's endemic here?
No,
Or
no,
it's
not at all.
It's indigenous.
I don't actually, well, let me think. Yeah, it must be indigenous.
Indigenous, okay.
It's just me noticing this. Look how long this one had to go before it actually did its first bifurcation. Oh wow.
Sphagnum
That's all where the
moss,
sun is. It depends on where the sun is. It's not raining.
little
It's gonna be very
feelers.
slippery. There's a rail here. Don't slip. You know how you can get up. Come on, make that. Be careful.
There's another one of those ferns. So, and then this is the Thurston lava tube. This is going down to the
Now
lava
this
tube.
collapsed in 1790. So the oldest anything in here could be would be 223 years. Did I do that right? So there are things in here that are that old. So here tree can't be older than 200, 30 to 20 years. They can grow hundreds of years. They top out about 600 years old. But in here, it can't be over 200 years old because that's when it's collapsed. I'm all doing the same thing, reaching for the little bit of the sun. Now definitely hug the right side because these folks might want to get around us.
These are 75-year-old ferns, or thereabouts.
Started down there.
You can't get fat like that. Huh?
So we're just now coming into the lava.
You can't get fat like big like
Yeah,
that.
there's too much gas. But this one actually is pretty good. Doing a pretty good job.
Ramp just like this, it's very wet and very slippery. If you're going to step on it at all, please hold on. No falling allowed. So be real careful. This has slippery stuff. I said, go down that second light. Wait for me there if you wouldn't mind, please. So be real careful. That's that real slippery spot that I was telling you about. Just skip it before we leave. This is right in this one little area. And they're probably going to get around. Lots of things. A really big one like this, you can just imagine during wartime, you could have, one person each end guarding the entrances. You can have all the troops you wanted in here safely. Sure. Constant temperature year round, great place to store your food. Has anyone felt a drink? We're going to stop up here for just a moment. I want to show you something up here. So we gotta hug this side of the trail. I don't see anybody coming right now. I just want to point out on the walls. And those coming out, remember what it's called when you come out of a collapsible lava tube? Skylight. Did you video what we did in here? How many plant species do you think there is in the Amazon? I actually don't know the number, but hundreds and thousands, I understand, correct? Lots and lots and lots and lots. How many plant species do you think there is in the Hawaiian rainforest? Go the other direction. Seems like about 2. Anyone here remember? She's pretty close. She's closer than most people. If you ever see coconut trees that have metal on the bottom of them, or see trees that have sheets of metal wrapped around the base, that's to keep the rats out. Because rats love to climb on the top of palm trees. And then they nest and do all
They
this.
can't grab a hold of it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Very hardy.
They prefer being straight up, but if not, they'll do it laying down.
So this is the visitor center area, and this over here is the art center. So we thought we'd take a quick look and see what this was originally on the caldera. She said $5 a night for just a little spot to sleep. So this is a 100-year-old building. You can see the catchment system too, where they take the water off the roof and into that thing there, and they probably use that to pump restroom water.
This actually answers your question about Mauna Loa. So there's one that comes up here, close to the summit, but not all the way around.
It's down here.
Interesting.
So this is Lava Tree State Park. These really tall trees are from Africa, and they grow really tall here and then they fall over because they're used to deeper soil than exists. So they were a problem. They were brought in for reforestation, but they were really the wrong kind of tree. But it's really a pretty place. We're here to change tour guides from our daytime tour guide to our nighttime tour guide. It's about 4 o'clock. Wow.
So anyway,
This is one of the lava
and
rifts.
it was about a 50 to 150 foot wide swath going through here, about anywhere from 8 to 15 foot in depth, and it did it in a matter of seconds. So it just kind of went. Now there's about 7 different places that the 1790 eruption came out in the East Rift Zone, this being one of many. We're going to take a little bit walk this way. This is another area that it came out of. Now it's just covered. You can look down inside there and see some of the fissure eruptions that it came in. Now the big trees that you're seeing right here, these are Alabesia. They're what is known as the tree that ate Puna. Because basically they invaded this area and took over everything. They just kind of displaced a lot of the other trees. Hibiscus plants puts out a yellow flower. Right now it doesn't have any. This particular tree that you're looking at right here, this is called kukui nut tree. Now you know those black kukui nut lays that the guys get? That's what they come from, is this tree. They're little kukui nuts, black nuts about this big. And they use them to make the lays for the guys. And again, we got some bigger ones back there that actually right now, they've been here so long, they've actually started growing new plants, trees out of the top of it. You want to come up to this one right here? You always stand up here and get a picture of yourself with it if you want. Months. And the plant will produce for 3 years. Similar to alfalfa in California.
These are papaya.
So here in the islands, you can pick up papayas for about $6 for $1. But insert, and again, everywhere that we had a 1790 flow, we also had either a 1955 and 1960 left. This is from the 1955 lava flow, fissure eruption. It was just up the side here. Again, this particular 1955 is also exactly came out of the same place as 1790. So we had a 1790 up to the right, and then we had another 1790 further to the northwest, and then we also had a few 1790s more to the southeast here. Area for the most part. Now this is 90% of the people you're going to find in this area are locals. And generally, like on a Friday, Saturday night, this place is packed with thousands of the locals camping here. If you want to know what local lifestyle is like, this is the place to be. The surf here can be treacherous, like I said. You can go swimming here. You have a lifeguard, but you better be a good swimmer. Now, if you do like swimming, we do have another spot up here. I'll show it to you. This is where we have one of the only boat launches for a 30-mile radius. But it's also a very popular place for people to go fishing and swimming. As you can see, we get down here, and this is where all the people are hanging out down at this end. That's because they're either swimming or surfing out here. They're camping, picnicking, and just having a good old time. Like I said, this is a beautiful place to be, to look at the ocean, to enjoy its scenic beauty. Right over here they have a rock wall, which is right now they got a high tide, so it's kind of submerged, but still at the same time, it gives enough protection for your beginner intermediate surfers to be over in this area to surf. Also, it's a great place, as you can see, where the swimmers will swim in here because it's protected from the most of the ocean. And this again is also where we have our area where they do the boat launching. So it's quite it's used quite well by a lot of the locals and pictures. And there's enough sunlight right now. If you look down the ocean, you should be able to see turtles. Just like I said, I don't park too close to the the coconut trees, and be careful when you walk out a little bit because you will find coconut.
Oh, there's a turtle right out there. Straight out.
Oh yeah.
The wave is huge now.
They kind of remind me of the cypress trees over in California, along the coast. Now this is part of, we're getting into Kahina. Now there's a lot of bed and breakfasts out in this area, which are really nice, but due diligence, check out the, it's like a quarter mile to a half mile swath that you drive through. It's just the strips of rain. Where I was living up in Curtistown, I was getting about 200 inches a year. Yes, it was. Past tense. Now imagine.
This is at the end of the road in
Now,
Kapali, something like that.
we're missing two people.
We're walking on top of part of the lava flow. This actually used to be ocean. The lava basically got in the ocean and filled it.
About 550 feet down. Now,
So this is all part of the new land, about 550 acres that the volcano created.
wrench in it. Kind of like taffy, I guess. Brown layers through there. That's it's rusty basically. The water, as soon as it hits it, it oxidizes the lava and turns into a rust color. About 2.5 months ago when I first started here, this area right here actually collapsed into the ocean. There's bones out there the size of Volkswagen cars sitting out here on the beach. They're gone. Washed away by the tide. Like I said last week, there was not a visible rock out here.
days ago, there wasn't a single rock on that black sand beach. So the storm yesterday came in and apparently chipped some of them off and brought them in from the ocean. And he suspects they won't be there a week from now. They'll wash back out and more sand will wash onto the beach. That's probably one of the boats that takes you out to see the lava entering the sea. But we've been told it's very, very choppy. So we haven't really set up one of those tours. So this is looking towards the end of the road there. I forget who they said this guy was, Uncle Roberts or something, that owns this land there. And the 1986 to 90 flow, which is all this stuff around us, went around his property and left the road alone, at least from his property on. The road back over there is gone. But yeah, all his stuff is wasn't touched at all. And that's the cafe we're going to be eating at.
Oh no.
Okay, this is obviously the glow at night at the steam vent, or at the, it's not the steam vent, it's the actual magma pool. So we're seeing the magma reflecting off the steam that's coming out. And the guide was saying it looks like maybe the roof collapsed a little more because this is more steam than it normally has. So this is the same view we were seeing earlier in the day. We're about a mile away. Okay, and then, you know, zooming in.
The camera I have has a button. I think I actually have it in my hand. Where it doesn't double. It does a flash first to catch this person, then it goes dark, it takes the background.
There's a slightly different angle. This is from the parking lot angle. It's not as good of an angle, but it's interesting because you got the shadow of the trees in front.